welcome back.
Welcome.
Today I've got Iggy here, who's one of our resident audio experts, along with Michael Cupp, to answer some questions for me. For the past 4 months, I've been recording pretty much every video using this Aperture Deity V-Mic D3 Pro. Right now, it's on a boom pole, kind of right above our heads. I'm pointing to it right now. I'm actually touching it. I just use that either on the camera or on a boom pole feeding into an audio interface to get the audio for these videos. But recently I saw Potato Jet with a Shure SM7B kind of right here on his vlogging setup. And I was like, why does he have a dynamic microphone like the Shure SM7B, which this RE320 is very comparable to? Why is he recording his audio to that? Because usually when I use this, it's for podcasting. It's right up in my face and it's got that radio sound to it. But when he's using it, it almost sounds like a lav. It's very closely mic'd. It's not too bad. Now maybe that's attributed to there's not much bounce in his vlogging setup. Kind of wanted to ask what's the difference between these two microphones? Now you know a lot about this kind of microphone. This is a shotgun microphone made by Deity, and it can be powered either with internal power or with phantom power from an interface. So it's got an XLR attachment to it. That makes that a condenser?
Small diaphragm condenser microphone.
Small diaphragm condenser microphone. So first off, tell me everything I should know about the characteristics of these two types of microphones.
For one, I find that a small diaphragm condenser is going to give you a little bit more directionality. That's why you can use it at such a farther distance. While it is a cardioid pattern, it might not be a true cardioid. It could be
it's super, like a flashlight beam.
Super cardioid or a hypercardioid, where you are getting reflection 180 degrees off axis, which would be behind the microphone.
Right.
But you'll find that the 0 degree on axis mark it has quite a bit of throw to it, quite a bit of distance.
So I could get something back here as long as it's on axis.
Yeah,
is what you're
absolutely
saying. Now, and when I go off axis, to the side, it sounds kind of like that, which is great for video because it's rejecting anything that's not what you're shooting at, which makes it a great on-camera microphone. Mm-hmm. So how is that different with this RE320?
This is probably a standard cardioid microphone, so you aren't going to get as much emphasized or exaggerated directionality from it. I find that that's why a lot of people like to use them this close. These are often touted as broadcast microphones, so they have a little bit more of a boost on low frequencies that bring out, like you said, kind of that radio tone, which is your the frequencies in your chest, a lot of presence, a lot of size, and
it sounds welcome back to NPR's.
You get that that Diane Rehm kind of tone.
That swag. So what? Okay, so you're sacrificing the directionality of it, but what are you gaining in return?
You're gaining, for one, you're gaining character. I feel like you're getting a very widely, universally recognizable kind of tone, which for some people can be synchronous with quality. If it's something, if they're used to hearing the big boisterous tones of radio personalities, and a lot of them are using SM7s or SM7Bs, which like you stated are very comparable to the 320D, is it?
It's just the 320.
Oh, 320. All right, word.
Why, is D less?
No, I thought you said D. And it says variable.
Oh no, that's the V-Mic D3 Pro.
There is a D on here.
There is a D? Does that mean a downgrade?
Variable D.
What?
The D is variable. I don't know what.
Wait, does that mean that I'm a loser?
Nah, you'll be fine.
Okay.
I find that with broadcast mics, they can be quite flexible. You can use them on drums, you can use them on bass cabinets. Actually, the 320 is one of the best bass cab mics ever. You can use them as...
I mean, obviously, getting something like this, if you're a vlogger, also has so many more applications. Yeah. And you could even record your vocals. You could mic
absolutely.
A guitar cabinet like we did in that last Silvertone 1448 review, which I'll put right here. But yeah, you can do so much with this microphone. If you get the Deity V-Mic D3 Pro, you're putting it on your camera, or you're putting it in a boom pole, and you're recording yourself talking in a video. That is pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you could get away with some creative recording applications with it. Because it's hypercardioid, what I would probably do with it, you could use it maybe as a hi-hat mic because of its increased directionality and therefore increased off-axis rejection. You could probably get away with miking up a hi-hat while rejecting the snare pretty well. Small diaphragm condensers have found their home in front of many, many guitar cabinets. They tend to, different ones like the KM184 by Neumann, they tend to accentuate different frequencies in the mid-range. A lot of people really like them. A lot of people people really like them on guitar cabinets for that reason. Guitar cabinet is mainly a mid-range to upper mid-range like pitted instrument. So whenever you start to move small diaphragm condensers around, getting them at different points in front of the cone, off axis, on axis,
picks up different frequencies.
Yeah, definitely. It's like an EQ. It is like sweeping an EQ around. Yeah, definitely. So if you sit there with your headphones and you have somebody playing, you can just sort of like scan for what feels like the best option.
But just in general, like probably you're gonna get more use out of this thing.
Yeah, definitely.
My question is, I use this for podcasts. It's right up in my face. But Potato Jet is using it about this distance away, and it sounds great. What's going on there?
I mean, for one, he is sort of like moving around a little bit more. I feel like maybe his methodology might have been like, okay, I'm just gonna crank the pre on the way in, get some distance between myself and the microphone. And because I noticed that his speech patterns, like the dynamic range of his speech pattern is pretty tight, meaning that like the lowest, quietest parts of his speech and the loudest, hypest parts of his speech are not that far apart. He keeps like a very even sort of delivery all the way through.
And that's incredibly untrue for me, right?
Yeah, that's this guy gets loud on us. I feel like his his rationale was like, all right, cool, like I'm just gonna crank the preamp to where I can stand about this far away from it and get a clean signal on the way in without getting anywhere near clipping, and then I should just be able to kind of move around, and as long as I maintain an even speech level, I should be good to go.
All right, so we have kind of basic dynamic microphones like this, condenser, small diaphragm
condenser,
super cardioid, shotgun microphone. I'm getting so many terms today. And then we have lavaliers. Now, very early on in my video creation, I kind of got the sense from someone, I forget who, that like lavaliers were for losers. I don't know that to be true. I just kind of assumed like, it's this small rinky-dink microphone, it kind of sucks. What's the trade-off and the benefits of using a lav over one of these two options?
I think that if you are going for more of a set-like environment where you don't want as many of your tools on screen, you would probably want to go for a lavalier mic. In most cases, like you've told me in the past, in most cases where people they just have podcasting studios or vlogging studios in their home setups where that is not really like that big of a deal, people tend to lean more on the dynamic large diaphragms, even these like shotgun mics. I personally would probably not use a lav just because I don't like the way that they sound. They are small, shitty microphones.
Yeah, that's the phrase I've said twice already.
Yeah, I think just the tone of like large diaphragm dynamic microphones such as the SM7B or the RE20 or the RE320 are just a lot more widely recognizable, a lot more ubiquitous, big radio personality tone.
I'm trying it out to see if it's better than having this shotgun mic overhead. Right now, you're hearing audio from the RE320, and right now, you're hearing audio from the Shotgun Deity V-Mic D3 Pro. Let me know which one is better. The thing I'm mainly looking for is the room bounce. Like I can hear too much of the room when I'm recording with this thing overhead. I'm not quite sure why that is. Actually, got an audio engineer expert here, so I'm gonna ask you, why do I hear so much room bounce from this overhead where I feel like people in similar setups who have something more like this don't?
Well, for one, there is a little bit more distance between you and the Deity. Also, because of the increased directionality, you have to be super careful about where this is pointed, because before it was kind of going a little bit over our heads, so it was probably capturing this wall,
right?
This barrier right here.
What's the best positioning for this based on this setup where I've got a wall behind me, floor, ceiling, table?
Just right at you.
Right at me.
Yeah, right at you. I think with with hyper and supercardioid microphones where they have this increased exaggerated directionality and increased exaggerated rejection, you want to make sure that it's pointed like right at your subject. So right now that is pointed right at my mouth and this is pointed right at yours. So
right.
This would probably be ideal for my speech at the moment, and this would probably be ideal for your speech at the moment.
Okay, so what I'm hoping to get out of this is to remove some of those reflections from the wall behind me, probably this tabletop, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
What about the floor or that wall?
Yeah, but not anything that some foam couldn't fix.
A little bit of foam. The one place where foam might do something. I'm gonna see if this setup works better. I'm probably not gonna go to a lav because it's been reported that lavs are tiny, shitty, useless microphones that suck.
Yeah.
But I've seen people talking about some awesome lav systems. Sennheiser just came out with the new one. They're wireless and they can be useful on certain film sets, but I've got a controlled studio environment here. So I really just need something that sounds good but doesn't doesn't pick up everything that's not ideal about my environment. As for an on-camera microphone, I'm gonna still go with the Deity V-Mic D3 Pro. Now, this is like a small kind of prosumer on-camera shotgun solution, but the bigger ones, the Sennheiser MK416 or the Rode NTG4, these ones are used more in like, you know, video studio environments like this. They're longer, they're bigger, and I've heard like shootouts with both of them. They don't sound too different. What would come with more size? Like, if you're a microphone manufacturer, like, why are those microphones probably a little bit better than this thing?
I think those are the ones that can achieve like true hyper and super cardioid. Is just like the length.
So length determines how cardioid it can be?
I think it just determines like the throw, how exaggerated the directionality is. So this one, what would you say that is? Like 8 inches, 6, 7 inches?
It's 9.
It'll give you like the directionality that you need at this distance, but I think when you're working, if you were trying to capture something from like across the room, like say to like that door,
that's what the big shotguns are for.
Yeah.
The big old shotguns. Let us know which of these sounds better. I brought Iggy here not only so that he could review the Kiwi, which is the next video we're probably gonna put out, and so that he could answer these questions I have about my audio setup. Lastly, since we're gonna be releasing that video with the Kiwi, is there any reason to use like a large diaphragm condenser in a situation like this?
Not particularly. I think it would just be a little bit more cost effective to go with some of the mainstays as opposed to going with like a tried and true like recording studio vocal mic that are,
those kind of require proximity and ideal conditions, right?
Yeah,
so you kind of got to be close to them, and your room can't have all the problems that this room has. So yeah, this is just kind of a video to help my fellow videographers or people trying to improve the audio quality in their videos so that you guys could kind of learn what I'm learning as I'm learning it from the guy I'm learning it from. If you like this video, please make sure to like the video, subscribe if you want more gear reviews and tutorials and you want to learn how to build a business around your creativity.
And hit the bell.
And ring the bell.
Gotta do it.
Leave a comment. Share us on LinkedIn and Friendster and MySpace, Craigslist. We're on Backspace. Join the community here, man. If you have any questions about this audio setup or anything we've gone over, also leave those in the comments. Let me know which mic sounded better because I really want to fix the situation, get the best audio that I can for these videos. Thank you so much, Iggy, for coming by and answering these questions.
No problem, sir.
I've been Circuit for Full Stack Creative.
I've been Ignacio with Full Stack Creative.
And we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.